SpaceX Starlink hacked, or even worse. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside, and that's it. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a tech day. Now, we're going to be talking a little bit about Starlink, but more about tech in general and being hacked. There is a bunch of hacks that have gone on recently, and yesterday there was a big hack, we believe. Well, an outage, at least, a global outage. And you guys wrote to me through DMs, through YouTubes, through email, all over the place. There's like 65,000 of you. So I got hundreds and hundreds of emails. Joe, are you down? We're currently down. We have no SpaceX Starlink. Our service is down. What is going on? And I was looking at these reports and all of these messages, and I'm replying to them. I'm like, I'm not sure. The reason was because at that time, I was picking up my son. It was right around 4 p.m. yesterday. So I didn't know that there was a problem at all. So thank you guys for telling me. Anyways, I did some research on this and I found some things that were extremely disturbing in my personal opinion. This has not been reported on as of yet. And I just want to put it out there as something that, well, there is an issue going on and I don't know what it is, but if it is what I think it is, SpaceX needs to fix something. Anyways, so I was reading an article over on Dark Reading, another rag. It's pretty interesting. They have a lot of these type of things, any type of hacks that go on and whatnot. Really good stuff. Anyways, the article was entitled KillNet Gloats About DDoS Attacks Downing Starlink, White House, and I believe the Prince of Wales. Now, what I found interesting was this article came out the day before. So I was reading this the day before the attack, but they were talking about an attack. But the attack that they were talking about was on November 18th. And I'm going to read some of this to you. And I think this will give you a better idea of what has happened here, okay? Or what is thought to have happened here. But before I get into this, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. Also, if you want more Starlink coverage, take a look at my Starlink playlist. There is a ton of helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy, and why. Really good stuff. And if you get anything out of this video, please consider sharing it with your community, throwing it a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, clicking this little button over here, and all of those things. I would appreciate it. That would be awesome. Anyways, let's jump right into this. It says KillNet and its band of hacker collaborators are claiming that they were able to pull off a trio of symbolic distributed denial of service, or DDoS, attacks aimed at punishing some of the most critical supporters of the Ukraine against the Russian invasion. This included Elon Musk Starlink satellite broadband service, as well as the White House in the US and Prince of Wales in the UK. Researchers at Trust Wave were able to find evidence collaborating the Russian-backed threat group claims. KillNet claimed it took down the Starlink service on November 18th, which has been critical of Starlink for providing the Ukraine war effort with internet connectivity. Indeed, Trust Wave found Starlink customers on Reddit on the same day complaining that they couldn't log on to their account for several hours. Quote, "You've been waiting for this, comrades," KillNet posted on Telegram, according to TrustWave. Quote, "Collective DDoS attacked on Starlink. No one can log into Starlink." So obviously something was going on there and it happened. This was on November 18th. Besides Starlink, KillNet also bragged that it was able to successfully run 30 minutes of a test attack on the White House website on November 17th. Quote, "Of course, we wanted to take longer, but did not take into account the intensity of the request filtering system," KillNet added. "But the White House has been banged up in front of everyone." TrustWave added that the White House uses military-grade protection against DDoS attacks from Automatic. Well, Automatic's not too happy about that. Days later, on November 22nd, the group launched yet another DDoS attack, once again, distributed denial of service attack, this time against the Prince of Wales website, and warned that the UK healthcare system would be next. KillNet also threatened future attacks against London Stock Exchange and the British Army and more. Although the targets are ambitious, Trustwave said Killnet and its cybercrime cohorts aren't advanced enough to pull off more than a basic DDoS attack. On Tuesday, Trustwave said, quote, "We should expect to see more of these low-skilled attacks from Killnet, targeting an even growing list of targets that is considered to be in opposition to Russian interest." Quote, "However, it remains to be seen whether the group can graduate to attacks that can cause damage, infiltrate data, and or more than take down a website for a short period of time." Now, I took a look at this a little bit more detailed, and I went on to a few different sites to see what was down. When was it down? What was going on? Because you know me, I don't want to just read something, then that is it. So what I did is I went over to a few other websites to see what was going on. Maybe someone else had a better understanding of what was going on. I went over to Kentic. Now they do a constant testing of the internet. So as you can see in this graph, AS14593, which is owned by SpaceX, was down. You can see how the data was running perfectly and then just went absolutely to garbage and then continued that way for about 17 minutes or so. Let's call it 20 minutes, and then slowly picked up, but didn't get to full speed again for a while. Now on the site, they said, quote, "The SpaceX Starlink satellite internet service experienced a global outage beginning at 2056 UTC today." According to Kentic's NetFlow data, traffic to AS14593 began to return after more than an hour of downtime, but the service has not yet fully recovered. Now, this was back yesterday. Now, if we go and look up the WHOIS information on this AS14593, here you can see it is owned by SpaceX Starlink. And they have, let's say, approximately 200,000 IP addresses. And they're all over the world, as you can see by this map. Once again, an AS number is a number usually provided to ISPs or very large companies that buy blocks of IP addresses. And that is exactly what is going on here. So their main block with all IP addresses ended up going down. Major problem, right? So I went over to one other site and just to read what they were saying, and this was Space Explorer. They said SpaceX Starlink high-speed satellite internet service is currently down to thousands of users. The exact cause of the outage is unclear, but users globally are without internet. Absolutely. Starlink has proven to be an extraordinary valuable service in the wake of natural disasters and war-torn areas. That capability has made it a target for bad actors. Musk has previously referenced jamming that has been used against Starlink's system that SpaceX was able to overcome. And he's talking about in the Ukraine how Russia was jamming those satellites, and through reprogramming, he was able to fix it. Now, what I did is I went over to Down Detector to see what was going on. How long was this? And sure damn enough, when I look up Starlink, you can see here by this graph, it was down during this 4 o'clock period. Massive spike, complete outage, and we're talking about 16,000 plus people reporting an outage. Now, obviously, there's a hell of a lot more. That's just the people that are reporting it on this site. Period. So after reading those hundreds of DMs and emails and everything yesterday, there was a few options, I guess, that people came up with. Number one, Russia, right? That they were using some type of signal jammer to jam the SpaceX Starlink satellites. Well, that is not the case. All right. I know people will think that that is possible, but it's not. These jammers are highly precise laser targeting. Pardon the pun. They hit that target, that satellite, or a few satellites, and that is it. And that's usually in this battlefield. All right. They're not going to be able to hit 3,500 satellites throughout the entire globe. So that option is just not going to happen. It's not plausible. All right. So everyone that said that, you're wrong. Option number two would be maybe SpaceX Starlink screwed up their CGNAT. It's a possibility which caused that global outage. Now, CGNAT is carrier-grade network address translation. Basically, it is a cheap way to provide IP addresses that are continuously changing from a pool of IP address. Basically giving out random IP addresses, but then each IP address could have multiple people on it. It goes in deep. Maybe I'll put a video link over here. I did a whole video about this. Anyways, a lot of providers that are trying to go cheap and not migrate to IPv6 and are using IPv4, they have a limited block of IP addresses. As we can see, SpaceX Starlink has about 200,000, I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know. Anyways, they have a finite number. So they use CGNAT so that they can have one IP address and literally put 10 people on that one IP address using this carrier grade network address translation. So the idea was maybe they broke something, and that's why everything went down. And I guess that is plausible. Now, for me, I use a service called PureVPN. The reason I use them is because I want my own static IP address. So if I need to get into my servers from external to our internal network, I can. For me, having that VPN with a static IP as well as port forwarding, it gives me a lot of added functionality that SpaceX Starlink doesn't provide, and a lot of other service providers don't either. That's why I ended up getting it. Of course, the added benefit is now I have the ability to be more anonymous. I can use up to like 6,500 different servers around the world. So if I wanted to watch a football game, soccer, US soccer, if I want to watch a football game in Brazil, I could just say, all right, VPN, show me as being in Brazil. It does. And now I can watch that content. Or if I wanted to watch the news that I am geo-locked out of, or whatever the case might be, I can do it. So that added protection for the family, as well as giving me that added ability to use a static IP address as well as port forwarding, is worth like $2, $3 a month. Anyways, in the pinned comment as well as the description, I have a link down there. You can use that link. You'll get that added discount as well as using that promo code, JCristina. Anyways, check that out. Really, really good, and I would recommend it. The fourth option that I was getting is, well, maybe there was a major attack that happened, a major hack against a root company, a root provider. And I dug in a little deeper to that one because that kind of makes sense, right? So I went over to Down Detector, which is a site that allows you to see what's up, what's not, what's going on, right? And I looked up Google. I'm like, well, that's just like a name that everyone knows. So I looked up Google. Sure enough, if you look at this graph, you can see right around that 4 p.m. time, what happened? There's a lot of outages, right? Then I went to YouTube, same company, right? I went to YouTube. Look at that chart. Very interesting what's going on here, right, guys? Very interesting. Then I moved into YouTube Music and then YouTube TV. And what is happening? There's this outage happening right around 4 o'clock. Then I went to Spotify. What happened? Same kind of thing. It just moved forward just a little bit to about 6 o'clock, but the exact type of outage. So I'm like, well, that is really weird, right? What is going on with that? How is Google out and SpaceX Starlink out? Was there an attack on both of these services simultaneously? Or maybe even worse. So as of right now, SpaceX Starlink has not even acknowledged the outage. They haven't even talked about the incident or said what went wrong. But the problem that I see here could run deeper. And the reason being is I then looked up other services, right? I said, well, if SpaceX Starlink is down and Google is down, all of the YouTube and all the rest of the Alphabet company websites, let's say, services are down, how about other companies? So I looked up Chime, I looked up Spectrum, I looked up Cox, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, Xfinity, Capital One. And if you see on this chart, Cox and Xfinity and AT&T and all the rest of these providers did not have this problem. So, in my estimation, number one, either Alphabet and Starlink got attacked simultaneously, which I do not believe to be probable, or Alphabet got attacked. If this is the case, this is a bigger problem than SpaceX Starlink just simply getting attacked, hacked, and then they fixed it within an hour. What this means is they are not using redundancy. I don't understand that. Okay, if that is the case, I don't get it. Because Elon Musk is a rocket ship builder, all right? He understands redundancy pretty damn well. If you build a plane, right, there is a system and a backup to that system. Every plane. Doesn't matter what the system is, there is double of everything. There is redundancy for everything. When you build a boat, any type of ship, there is redundancy. When you build a rocket ship, there is redundancy. There is system and a backup of the system, and sometimes a backup of the backup of the system. Why would you put all of your eggs in one basket if you were SpaceX Starlink? So what this would mean to me if they did, when Alphabet goes down, SpaceX Starlink goes down. That is a damn big problem. So I could be wrong here. I could be wrong. But just by looking at this data that I found, it just leads me in that direction. So I want to know option 5 from you. What do you think happened? Have you done any research? Have you found anything out as of yet? What happened? I want to know. I want to know what you think. Once again, I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of DMs and messages through YouTube and emails galore. And I really do appreciate you keeping me abreast of what's going on. Once again, I was on the road picking up my son from school, so I didn't even know that this even happened. All right. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this content. Once again, in the comment area below, let's have this discussion. I think it's fascinating, and I think it might, hopefully, if someone important listens to this and gets the idea that there is a problem and redundancy might be that problem, they fix it. Okay? They fix it. Anyways, if you enjoyed this, please throw this video a thumbs up. That would be absolutely fantastic. Subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, family. Click this little button over here so when I go live and when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.